I think we're going to revisit the Lafayette Radio catalog once again, but this time we're going to spend all our time just going through this catalog. This is the 1963 Lafayette catalog, and one of my older videos that I made a year or two ago shows a little bit of this catalog, but let's go into more detail here for those of you who may be interested. Take a look inside. And you think about 50-watt stereo amplifier for $100. Well, $100 back then, was quite a bit of money back in 1963. And 24-watt stereo amplifier. Back then, when they rated things, they weren't inflated ratings. They were RMS into 8 ohm load. So you got 12.5 watts per channel. Nowadays, if they come out with that, they would probably call this 100 or 200 watt, because they rate everything in peak power now, which is ridiculous. Of course, we're not going to spend an entire video on every single page in the catalog. That would be impossible. And believe me, they had a lot of goodies. They had a lot of audio equipment. Of course, back then, these prices were way out of my range. So, I didn't buy any of this. What I did, they even carried a Scott and everything else. What I did is I bought the ICO. I believe it was an HF20. It was my first amplifier. Lots and lots of speakers, lots of them. Oh yes, the AR. I had the AR2AX. This is the AR3A. This was the top of the line back then. And get your record changers, tape recorders and tape decks. Yeah, a lot of nice ones. And Sony's. They had all kinds of goodies. You even had tone arms. Besides the cartridges. I remember these cartridges. Oh yes, in the static line. Yep. Yes, back in those days, you could get just about anything. Even got TV picture tubes. Of course, I can't even tell what these numbers are because I can't read that. It would have to be played back in the video in order for me to see it. But they have special purpose tubes. I'm wondering if they even sold the impossible to get 3KP4, which is used in the Pilot TV37, of course. Yes, all kinds of batteries. I remember these batteries used to order a 90-volt battery to run my little portable tube radio. And I'll tell you, boy, those little tube radios used to suck those batteries down. They didn't last very long. You even had a good selection of knobs. Even had generators. $145 for a 1,000-watt generator. They had all kinds of things. And oh yes, the ICO test equipment. Okay. My ICO 232 VTVM came from Lafayette. My ICO 424 signal generator came from Lafayette. I never owned at that time a Simpson, nor did I own a good oscilloscope. I had an old Hickok, I think 505 I picked up from a TV guy. He gave it to me real cheap. I think it only went up to 1 megacycle, as I recall, on the vertical. I showed you this before. 1995. This was my very first tester. It was an emission tester. Model TE15 Lafayette. That was the very first one, along with a cheap VOM, and that's how I started out. It was, matter of fact, I think it was this one right here. Back in the CB days. Well, back then CB was civilized. Back in early 60s. I never did own a Lafayette HE20C. I always wanted one at that time. I had an old Gonset G11. Single channel Gonset G11 base station. HE29B Lafayette walkie-talkie. That was my very first walkie-talkie. I had a ball. It was two of us, there was 2 other kids in the neighborhood that had them also. We used to have a lot of fun with those things. A lot of fun. They went quite a bit in distance, quite far in distance. At least a mile or so between walkie-talkies. They were, I don't know, 100 milliwatt, I believe it was. You got your Shure microphones, and communication microphones and so forth, PA microphones. Here's a microphone I ordered and put it on my Gonset G11. You know, that damn Gonset G11 always had low modulation. You know, I had to shout into the damn mic. I remember that. They even had drill bits. Things you'd never think they'd have. Of course, your tools and stuff. Pliers and wire cutters and needle nose and all that stuff. Of course, they even had the technical books, too. All kinds of technical books. Rider publications. Howard W. Sam's publications. They even had, looks like movie cameras. Yep. Movie cameras and movie projectors. How about that? Boy, it's nice looking back on these catalogs, isn't it? All this nice stuff. 35mm stuff. Yep. And photo accessories. I'll tell you, those are the days when a store was a store. For crying out loud, you can even get telescopes. Even microscopes. And, of course, your usual transistor radios. Yep. Well, hope you enjoyed it. I sure enjoyed reminiscing on the old Lafayette 1963 catalog. I hope you did as well. Thank you for watching.